Well, this is Why Wasn't It Better? And I'm your host, Patrick Darms.
And I'm your co-host, Anton Paras.
It's our season 11 premiere, and we are diving into Die Another Day, a James Bond movie that celebrated 40 years of Bond by completely losing the plot. This is the one where the series just says screw it. Invisible cars, DNA replacement, ice palaces, space lasers, Madonna. It's not just over the top. It's like no one involved even attempted to ground it in reality. Kind of like Moonraker. And yet, this thing made a ton of money. Audiences showed up. Unadjusted for inflation, this was the most financially successful film in the series released up until that point. So, for all of its buffoonery, Bond was still a box office force. So what happened? Because what's fascinating about Die Another Day is that it doesn't feel like a natural evolution of the franchise. It feels like a breaking point, because that's exactly what it was. It ended up being Pierce Brosnan's final appearance as Bond, and even though he didn't intend for it to be, and it caused Eon to reboot the series 4 years later with Daniel Craig and Casino Royale. And for that, we should be grateful. And here to break the ice with us and indulge in some mojitos is a very welcome return guest, Kai Wang.
Hey, it's so good to be here. Thank you, guys.
Welcome back, Kai.
Your 10th appearance on the pod. Big deal.
I cannot believe it's been 10.
And a season premiere.
I'm honored.
Yeah, we're setting the tone.
Oh, no,
right.
You have been on a season premiere. GoldenEye was a season premiere.
Oh, wow. Another
I
Bond.
should have known that as the host, but I didn't. So
well, for Kai, it just feels so much more just natural. Season premiere, just another episode, right? Because he's always bringing his A game.
Yeah, for me, it's just Wednesday.
Oof. And this is your fourth Bond with us? Moonraker, GoldenEye, The World Is Not Enough, and now Die Another Day. You're a real Brosnan veteran.
I am. And speaking of Moonraker, I'm glad you brought it up, because during this movie, I kept thinking to myself, I would believe Moonraker could happen before I believed this.
Well, it's funny you say that. This film actually shares a very special bond to Moonraker. Did you read the notes on this yet?
No, I didn't get a chance to yet.
All right, so I was going to mention it later, but I can just say it now. Bond fans know this, of course. This is more or less a pretty faithful adaptation of the Moonraker novel, minus the space laser and DNA replacement. That's not in the novel. But the character of Gustav Graves is modeled on Hugo Drax from the original novel. And if you ever read the Ian Fleming novels, Moonraker is one of the best ones. Now, unlike this film, the novel was quite good. But it is funny how they, of course, made Moonraker, and it had almost nothing in common with the novel. And then 20 plus years later, they give us this lemon.
You know, this movie starts off pretty strong, I would actually say. Like I hadn't seen this since I was a kid. So I like, for the most part, I didn't really remember it. But sitting down and watching it, I was thinking to myself, man, why is Patrick saying this is so bad? This is not bad so far.
And then they get to Iceland.
Yeah, and then...
Those are interesting words.
Well, Anton, let's begin. Why don't you intro this?
Released on November 20th, 2002 by Eon Productions and MGM. Directed by Lee Tamahori. Screenplay by Neil Purvis and Robert Wade. Starring Pierce Brosnan, Halle Berry, Toby Stephens, Rosamund Pike, Rick Yoon, Judi Dench, and John Cleese. With a budget of $142 million, $239 million adjusted for inflation, and a box office of $431 million, or $726 million adjusted for inflation. It sits at a 56% Rotten Tomatoes score. It's the 20th official James Bond film and the 40th anniversary. James Bond is captured while on a mission in North Korea and must serve a grueling prison sentence. He's finally released and is convinced that someone in his own agency betrayed him. He escapes from custody and travels to Cuba, hot on the heels of Zhao, a terrorist who is his only lead. Meanwhile, Bond begins romancing NSA agent Jinx as he uncovers a scheme concocted by Zhao and British millionaire Gustav Graves. Kai, what were you going to? What did you want to mention?
I was gonna say, calling him a British millionaire is really underselling how fucking loaded Gustav Graves is.
Good point.
I think Elon wishes he had Graves' money.
Do you think that Gustav's hobbies line up with the level of money he has, or just not eccentric enough?
The rocket car? Fencing,
rocket car. Double
parachute.
agents.
Surprised he wasn't just an astronaut at this point.
Right. You know what? I don't know if the movie actually mentions this. The novelization, which I somehow own, he's supposed to be Argentinian. That is his like fake identity that he created for himself.
so sick. That's awesome.
I don't know how much thought they put into that when they were writing the film. Probably not much. But yeah, he's Argentinian.
Well, Gustav Graves, the persona, he is Argentinian in the movie. Like they
mention it. They do mention it.
They do, yeah. But obviously, he's not. He's fucking Korean.
But he wants to be knighted by the queen.
He is knighted, isn't he?
He's a knight by the end of the movie.
Sir Gustav Graves.
That actually might be the most unrealistic part of the plot. It takes years to acquire a knighthood.
I was going to say, that doesn't happen that fast.
It does not.
My man showed up, and within a year, he was knighted.
Yeah, he had a diamond mine. He had a charity for orphan children. He built a space laser.
So first off, this is it's amazing to think about. Like he was there. There's this what level in the military was he before he fell off the waterfall? Like
colonel.
He was a
colonel,
general,
he was a colonel. He was a
colonel.
But he had his own like compound, so he was like an important colonel because he was the son of General Moon.
He's a special colonel. So special colonel has ideas in his head of how he wants to change his ethnicity. I think this film really was ahead of its time in terms of predicting being transracial.
Right. Nowadays, he could just self-identify as Argentinian.
Exactly. But I mean, being an anime fan, I know there's already a lot of folks that want to identify as Japanese. So.
Right. Well, we're going to get into it a little bit later. I have some questions surrounding when he decided that he wanted to change his identity to that of a Caucasian-ish looking Argentinian man. Like, was it before or after Bond more or less fake killed him when he fell off the waterfall in the hovercraft?
I don't think he planned to do it before, but I think when he fell, he realized this was an opportunity.
As he fell, this will work out perfully.
It's almost like they didn't put a lot of thought into that when they wrote it.
Yeah.
But Kai, so you're the guest. Like, why Die Another Day? Why'd you want to talk about it? Just you love Brosnan.
You know, this is a movie I watched as a kid, and it left a pretty lasting impression on me, and I didn't really remember too much. So I thought that this was a perfect movie to like kind of watch, re-remember, and see if it really holds up to the image I had of it in my head. Because you texted me like how terrible this was, and I was like, man, I don't remember it being that bad. And even in like the first 30 minutes, I was still thinking, I was like, this isn't that bad. Well, like, what is Patrick talking about?
Well, not to spoil the lead, but yeah, this isn't one of the better Bonds. Anton, 2002 was an important year for Bond. It was the 40th anniversary of the film series. It was the 20th film. It was supposed to be a celebration. It ended up being Brosnan's fourth and final entry, although not his official final appearance as James Bond. It's kind of the Batman and Robin as the series, and 2002 is an important year because this is your first in-theater Bond.
Oh my goodness, it's so true. My first in-theater Bond. Isn't that interesting?
You were pumped up to see this then, right?
Oh, absolutely. I told you I was excited because growing up I'd watched so much Bond on VHS, and I was ready to see basically like the Bond I grew up with, which was Pierce Brosnan, because that was who was in the limelight in theater for the first time as James Bond. And yeah, Die Another Day.
I went to see this in the theater with my dad and my friend Tony. We came out of it pretty disappointed. It was no coincidence that I had also seen The Bourne Identity around the same time. We'll talk about that a little bit later too.
Yeah,
because that had a big influence on the future of Bond.
Well, so I was in I want to say I was in the 6th grade. Yeah, I was in the 6th grade when this came out. So I was very excited to go to the theaters. And let me tell you, 6th grade me, blown away. The effects,
I bet.
The action, the hot women. 6th grade me was having a blast.
In 2004, Brosnan's final appearance as Bond is actually in the video game Everything or Nothing, which is a really fun game.
It has multiple platform releases. The Game Boy Advance game is actually super fun.
I did not know it had a Game Boy Advance. I think I would have played it on maybe Xbox?
GameCube or...
Maybe GameCube. But this was the era when they were doing a lot of James Bond games. Agent Under Fire, Nightfire. They were really cranking them out.
Well, it was the year of like For me, one of my favorites, Nightfire, and
Nightfire was my shit.
that was so good on the PS2.
Also, I think this is the era of like every movie had to have a game that came out with it.
Oh yeah, video game film adaptations. It's not all created equal.
No, for sure not. It's important to point out about this film. It has a pretty negative reputation today in the Bond community. It was certainly not a failure, though. I mean, you read the box office numbers. It made an insane amount of money, more money than any other film in the series up until that point, unadjusted for inflation. So if you're looking at this on paper, you're like, well, why was this Brosnan's final film? Well, we're going to try to answer that. We'll get to the production history in just one moment, but first, it is time for everyone's favorite section of the podcast, the 6 Degrees of Warren Beatty's Sex Life, which is our prevailing theory that all films can be connected via the sexual conquests of Warren Beatty. Anton, we have a direct connection here with the one and only Madonna.
It's the fastest one that we've probably have, right?
Yeah. Did we do it for Dick Tracy? I mean, that would have been the same thing.
I mean, would have been the same thing.
No.
Yeah.
Fantastic Voyage, Raquel Welch.
Oh, direct
Connection. Kai, no degrees of separation needed here. Warren Beatty dated her. All right. Production history for this. So this was postponed until 2002 to coincide with the 40th anniversary of Dr. No. It was originally going to come out in 2001, back when they actually made James Bond movies every other year. Michael Apted, who had directed The World Is Not Enough, they asked him to return. He accepted, but this is kind of disappointing for Apted. They had to rescind the offer after MGM insisted on someone else because they wanted to ask Tony Scott and John Woo, both of whom declined. Scott claims to have suggested Quentin Tarantino as director, although Michael Wilson, one of the producers, he denies that any formal negotiations were held with him. I got to say, I love James Bond. I love Quentin Tarantino. I don't see it.
So they were trying to get Quentin Tarantino, and then they got Michael Madsen instead.
Oh, yeah. Well, Bond got away real easy, didn't he? Anybody got a Marlboro Red?
Take care of your house.
Yeah. You put your house in order. We'll do it for you. I hate that Michael Madsen's in this. I really do. There's a reason why I didn't list him in the cast when you introed the film. He doesn't deserve it.
He's so sloppy as a NSA director.
We disagree now because I know you like Madsen more than I do, Anton. That doesn't work for a Bond movie.
It doesn't. We need a bit more polish for a Bond movie.
We need some class.
We really do.
Robbie Coltrane, where are you? Died in the film.
Michael Madsen looked like he just rolled out of the trailer.
Well, he may have. Pierce Brosnan suggested John McTiernan. That would have been great. Ang Lee. That would have been great. I'd love to see Ang Lee do a Bond movie. Or Martin Scorsese as potential choices. I don't see Scorsese. Doesn't.
That'd be a 3-hour film.
Brosnan informally discussed the idea of directing a Bond film with Scorsese on a flight.
Ever since I was a young boy, I wanted to be a Bond.
I always wanted to be a secret agent. If you do that scene from the point of view from Colonel Moon, it would be like, ever since I was a young boy, I always wanted to be an Argentinian diamond mine owner.
And the whole crew was there. General Zhao.
He had diamonds in his face for whatever reason. Can't imagine how that happened.
I love the idea of a
what's the blonde guy
monologue.
What's the blonde guy's name? The rocket scientist guy? Was it Vlad?
Yeah.
Yeah. He gets sucked out of the plane at the end. No, Vlad.
He had 3 lines of dialogue, and he was the smartest guy in the movie.
Yeah. Hey, boss, he beat your score.
Yeah.
He beat your time. Okay. I don't know how we're going to get through all these notes. This is just too much. Brett Ratner, Stephen Hopkins, and Stuart Baird were in negotiations to direct before Lee Tamahori was hired. I mean, look, no offense to Lee Tamahori. He was the 9th choice.
The literal last choice.
Yeah. And for what it's worth, MGM did not want to hire him. But Broccoli and Wilson had final say. The screenplay was written by Neil Purvis and Robert Wade. All right, this is bizarre. And Kai, it's great to have you on as a guest because you were on For the World Is Not Enough. They were asked to write more action into the film after it was decided that The World Is Not Enough had been, quote, too plot-centric. That is nuts to me because all 3 of us agreed that film had too much action in it.
Way too much.
I would never watch The World Is Not Enough and think it was too plot-centric. Mm-hmm. Well, that film's plot compared to this is like Citizen Kane. Rosamund Pike was cast 5 days before the start of shooting. Her first scene was acting opposite Judi Dench, something she found to be daunting. And I did not realize this. She was 23 in this film. Young.
Solid job, Rosamund Pike.
Yeah, she
pulled her weight.
Yeah, she's not one of the 15 problems with this film. The Ice Palace took approximately 6 months to construct. The ending originally featured the Icarus space laser weapon hitting New York City. This was altered after the events of September 11th, obviously. And if you thought the special effects in this film were bad when it's just hitting a Korean minefield, I can't even imagine what it hitting New York City would have looked like.
Principal photography began at our good old Pinewood Studios in January 2002. Location shooting was done in the UK, Iceland, and Cadiz, Spain, which doubled for Cuba, or Cuba. The surfing that is briefly seen in the pre-title sequence was filmed off the coast of Maui. Scenes inside Graves' diamond mine were also filmed in Cornwall at the Eden Project. Is that more offensive to North Korea or to Maui? Probably more offensive to Maui.
I think so, yeah.
Brosnan blew out his knee while shooting the pre-title sequence in Cornwall. And 4 weeks into shooting, the finale setting was abandoned. Originally set at a Japanese indoor beach with a wave pool.
Don't laugh.
It was changed.
That was actually the plot.
It was changed to the giant North Korean airplane per Lee Tamahori's suggestion. While Aston Martins were featured in all 3 of Brosnan's prior films, this was the first film in the series where Bond is officially issued an Aston Martin by Q branch since The Living Daylights. Costing $142 million, this was the most expensive film of 2002, more expensive than Spider-Man, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, Minority Report. Ooh, that is rough. And for some, let's call it embarrassing comparison, The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers had a budget of $90 million. That's
tough.
That is tough. That is really tough. 20 companies paid $70 million to have their products featured in this movie, a record at the time. Upon release, the amount of product placement throughout the film became a point of criticism, with many critics mockingly referring to the film as Buy Another Day. But, yeah. As noted, this was probably the most profitable movie that Eon has ever made.
Confirmed in the archives. They cleaned up on this.
Do we have any favorite product placements in the film?
Well, Norelco, the electric razor that he's prominently using in Hong Kong.
To what is it? To just quickly shave off that massive beard?
Yep, right.
I don't think that was realistic, or maybe it was that good of a shaver.
I'm assuming he did some work prior to that with some scissors because he had a pretty big beard. I think the one product placement that stood out to me is Finlandia vodka. Smirnoff was prominently part of James Bond, really going back all the way to Dr. No. And, Finlandia vodka, which is not a bad vodka, it was in this film.
Did anyone notice the Coke and Sprite that would be littered here and there?
Well, what about Gustav Graves, the diamond guy? He was
all
featured.
Of those diamonds. Yeah, exactly.
With the little laser etching on it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. What about you, Kai? Any products that made you want to buy one besides the obvious Omega?
Probably the car. I gotta be honest, I didn't really. There wasn't a scene where there was product placement and my mind went, that was annoying. I thought it was pretty just part of the scene. But I don't know, maybe I'm too inundated with that every day now that it's just acceptable to me. You know what I mean?
I feel the same actually. Product placement in movies doesn't bother me because that's how movies get made.
Yeah. Also, what is it going to be like? People are drinking a soda, and every time it just happens to be turned away from the label. It's fine to see a Coca-Cola logo now and then.
Well, I think part of it is when you have actual products that are, again, they're sponsorships, but they're actual products. It actually grounds the film more in reality.
Yeah.
So it helps versus Bond is showing off his soda and it's just some random bloke and Pepsi brand. Yeah,
what I don't like is if the character fucking stops in the middle of the screen and goes, I'm gonna take a sip of my nice Coca-Cola.
What? Right. That's my favorite scene in Wayne's World.
In Back to the Future.
Yeah.
No, I actually know what you mean, because nothing bothers me more than in a TV show or a movie where some character goes up to a bar and they're like, "Can I get a beer?" It's like, No one would
No
order.
one orders like that.
No one orders that. Oh, let me get a whiskey. Like, what kind of whiskey?
All right, real quick. I think my favorite two things. One, I think my official favorite has to be the Sony Ericsson in the film.
That Zhao uses?
Yeah, that has to be my favorite because I always, to this day, think Sony Ericsson's a pretty badass phone. And I think to me the most egregious, like, eye-rolling moment for product placement in a film is an iRobot where Will Smith opens the box to the Converse high tops and says vintage.
2004, he says. Wait a wait. Well, as always, we want to thank everyone for listening. If you're liking the podcast and you haven't already done so, please follow, please subscribe, please leave us a 5-star review. Leave comments wherever you're listening or watching. We're on all the major social media platforms, Instagram, X, and best of all, Letterboxd. We also have a Patreon if you really want to support the show. You can get access to episodes a full week early and ad-free, plus some bonus content. Anton, Kai, Die Another Day. Why wasn't it better? Number one reason, I want to start by talking about the production. Because despite that budget, which we were just spending so much time talking on, I don't think this is a well-made movie. I don't think this is a good-looking movie. And I think that starts with the director.
This movie did not age well, I think.
The director, I mean, it's interesting because I don't think there was anything in his repertoire that said, I can do a Bond film.
And that's probably why he was the 9th choice.
But like literally, so I have seen We Were Warriors. Have you seen that film?
Once Were Warriors, yeah.
Yeah,
which is like a fine little film.
Yeah, it's I think it's a really great small film. It doesn't showcase anything that I think would indicate to me that there are things like proper choreography or the scale of like the global jet setting that Bond films typically have. That's a much smaller film.
He did direct a movie that I really like a few years before this called The Edge.
Oh, okay.
With Anthony Hopkins and Alec Baldwin. But also doesn't lead you to believe he could do something like this. I mean, look, I don't want to be too harsh, but I will say I think he's probably the worst director that Eon ever hired to do one of these films. He was just the wrong choice.
I mean, even those films that you're naming, I know he also did Along Came a Spider. It's much more character driven, closer to like the thriller side, or at least I don't think this is that kind of film. I don't think Bond's ever been that kind of film.
Well, I mentioned MGM didn't want him. Broccoli and Wilson did. Brosnan didn't like him initially. He said, quote, he was a wild card. He was tough. He had an edge to him, which was quite brittle and crazy, but we got on all right, end quote. But here's why I don't think he was the right. He confirmed to Total Film, Tamahori did in 2002. He pitched a scene where Brosnan's 007 meets an older former 007 in Scotland, played by Connery. But then he was told it was too dangerous to have 2 007s in one movie. Like, why? Why?
You know, there's a lot of people out there who kind of subscribe to the idea that James Bond is not one person.
They're wrong. They are wrong.
I agree with you, by the way. I'm just saying that Tamahori is probably one of those people.
Here's what else he was responsible for. This is the evidence of why this movie starts and ends with Tamahori. He's directly responsible for a lot of the film's biggest problems. So all the gadgets from the previous films that inadvertently and stupidly retcons all the Brosnan films, because all of us would agree, GoldenEye was kind of a soft reboot. This film reverses that by connecting all the previous films. That was his idea. The invisible car, that was his idea. The CGI kite surfing, that was his idea. The car battle on the frozen lake, that was his idea. And then the entire climax aboard the plane, that was his idea. All of this stuff is from Tamahori.
I'm not shocked. I remember reading in the behind the scenes, there's a lot of pressure. He felt a lot of pressure to do something big because of the 40th anniversary, which, I mean, look, I think it's a little too tongue-in-cheek to say have him meet Sean Connery. But like you said, it's just too much. And I feel like even with what we did have in the film, it's just the film felt stuffed.
Kai, you said this film hasn't aged well. Why?
The PS1 graphics would probably be the reason it doesn't age well. Like, any of the scenes with CGI in it just look horrible.
The kite surfing for sure.
Yeah, that's a big one. I think the opening sequence, like the title card sequence, did not age well. The music choice is very 2002. It like all those things together just date the movie like pretty immediately, I think.
I agree with you completely. And it's funny how John Woo turned them down, and it's like they did everything in their power to make this into a John Woo film. Anton, the editing decisions, the speed ramping that is prominently used throughout this film.
Are you talking about like when someone gets punched and then like it slows down for some reason?
Yes, or it speeds up when there's like when even a shot when he's driving the Aston Martin to the Ice Palace and the camera just
Oh,
Well, even the whole plot of like he was Korean the whole time and trying to reconcile with his father. That's very John Woo.
But you're right about the slow motion stuff. You could tell it was post-production slow motion. It's like that real awkward that you could tell they didn't film it like that.
it was so jarring every time that happened. I'm just like, why are you doing this?
Would it have been better if we add in James Bond pulling out 2 pistols in each hand while doves are flying out?
That would have been sick.
He does dual wield in Tomorrow Never Dies, remember, at one point.
That's
I'm amazed
very
this
John
film
Woo
didn't have
inspired.
bullet time. Like, if it had, it wouldn't have shocked me.
It would not have shocked me.
Something about the pre-title sequence. You notice the color correcting they were doing? It doesn't look like the rest of the film. It's like grayscale.
Like the background where like he's getting tortured is like gray, but then like the foreground is like in color.
Yeah, that was a real big 2002 thing where they hadn't quite figured out how to do digital color grading. And there's a lot of just really bad blue screen shots in this.
Yeah, I also just felt so bad. They had to. I think they had to do the torture scenes like 40 different takes, and they had to actually torture him just to get the shots right. It's a lot of scorpions.
The slow motion cut when he shoots his father at the end on the plane, and remember, it just cuts to the other North Korean generals, and they're just like,
Which is funny because that's a dramatic natural reaction versus
yeah.
in the beginning of the film where everything's exploding around and you still have the one person inspecting diamonds like nothing else is happening around him.
The guy with the sunglasses.
Yeah, he's just like he's still just inspecting diamonds while like everything is literally blowing up around him.
Dude, speaking of like Zhao shooting not Zhao, Moon, or fucking Gustav Graves shooting General Moon. That scene just makes zero sense to me. Why does General Moon, when he sees his son unleash a laser weapon, does he suddenly turn on him? It makes no sense.
I think he wanted peace with South Korea. I don't think he wanted to invade.
Did he ever say that at any point?
I mean, he did say to Bond he was trying to bridge the gap between his country and the West.
Right.
I would say it's not well told.
Because when he suddenly tried to kill Graves, I was like, wait, what? Why?
Maybe he just didn't actually believe it was his son. I don't know. He's like, I don't know you.
Yeah, it's just the accumulation of all these like things that are hard for me to believe that like kind of it doesn't make the movie sit right with me, you know.
No, I mean, let's face it though. By the time this movie gets to the end, it is so far gone.
Oh yeah, the plane flies through the laser and it's okay, but the fucking ground beneath it is exploding.
All the landmines, all the wildlife is fleeing. Anton, is it out of bounds to say this is more dated than like Live and Let Die? Because I think it is. I really think it is.
It's
Kai, you watch Moonraker with us. You watch You Only Live Twice. I think this film is aged worse than those two.
What's
100%?
What's more dated, this film or Space Utopia? We're gonna go take the most attractive people in the world.
Oh,
and
you
take
mean
them off
Moonraker?
planet. Yes, of course.
No, I think Moonraker is way more fun than this.
I was gonna say like that. Even though that is an older film, I think that concept still feels not necessarily fresh, but it is more entertaining. There's just something about this concept. I don't know. It just feels too on the nose.
Both of you mentioned the CGI. It's inexcusable with this budget. You can't have the most expensive movie of 2002 and have effects that look like this. It's unreal.
It literally looks like a PlayStation 1 like cutscene in some parts.
Unless they really did spend their budget in other places and they were like, well, we got to put something out.
That book I've been reading, Some Kind of Hero, they spent a lot of money on the effects.
Who were they paying? Right.
You can look in the credits. I also think, Anton, you've seen all these movies. I think this is without question the worst looking film in the series.
No doubt. Like, look, the film does look terrible.
Flat.
The CGI looks terrible. It just does not look, even the non-CGI scenes, not the most exciting.
No, and I think it's actually a shame that this film was shot so poorly, because I think some of the sets actually would have looked impressive if it had better lighting. Like, everything is just super brightly lit.
Yeah,
even when they're in the ice palace, there's a lot of lights.
I was gonna say, I think that was probably very indicative of that. Like, scenes in Iceland in the ice palace, probably shooting snow or just shooting ice like that is difficult, and trying to get it right. How do you get the lighting right? But this film didn't do it right, I'll tell you that.
This was shot by a gentleman named David Tattersall. And again, I try not to be too harsh with some of these things. By pure coincidence, though, he is the same guy who shot all 3 Star Wars prequels, which, in my opinion, have some of the dullest cinematography imaginable. I don't think it's a coincidence. There's not a single interesting creative shot in this film.
I mean, it's interesting because we do have a lot of examples of pretty good CGI in 2002.
Yeah, of course.
I mean,
yes. The age isn't the issue.
But, like, you do, I don't know, care and attention and just willing to be able to go out with what they did is very frustrating. What is it? I clown on that one scene in Spider-Man all the time. It also came out in 2002. But it's the scene where Green Goblin turns all of the, the executive board into skeletons.
Oh, with the pumpkin bombs?
Yeah. Okay, that has to be the most embarrassing scene, I think, in the film.
It's bad. It's bad.
10-year-old me loved it.
It's bad, but I would at least say it's Sam Raimi probably intended it for it to be campy.
Yeah, and the rest of the film, I think, does make up for it.
Yeah. Spider-Man has some great CGI. Obviously, Lord of the Rings has the best CGI of that era.
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
Minority Report has pretty good CGI. Harry Potter has good CGI. So the age is no excuse here.
Yeah, it is definitely not an excuse, especially for that budget, and especially for Eon to okay it. I think, to me, that is the most egregious.
What do you guys think? Am I being too harsh on the cinematography? It is so dull. There's not any action scene other than the sword fight at the club that I think is exciting.
No, I mean, I agree with you. Like, again, I think any scene that they shot where they were surrounded by ice, it was either one, it just looked incredibly dull, or it looked like they didn't know how to shoot against so much like white and blue background, or just other scenes were just very dull in lighting and coloring. Yeah, just not fun.
Even the sequence in Cuba where Bond is trashing the clinic, it's not just the cinematography, like the choreography. Like, it's clear Halle Berry had never held a gun before in her life.
Right.
I knew that would bother Kai. He's sensitive about gunplay in movies.
You know, she held the gun better than Brosnan did in all 4 of his movies.
You think so?
Yeah, Brosnan's doing the teacup grip in every single movie. At least Halle Berry was holding it like, both palms on the grip.
Fair. All right. But we do agree Brosnan has the best gun barrel logo.
Yeah,
probably. It's super sick.
So good. Did you like the bullet in
the
gun barrel logo right at the beginning?
Well, so
it comes right at the camera? Because that was also Lee Tamahori's idea.
That's cool. I mean,
is it?
That's cool.
Is it stupid?
Yeah. So the whole gun barrel sequence improvements over time. I saw a YouTube video on it. Are you a fan of when if the screen goes red with blood, or no?
You have to be.
Yeah.
Because they did it in until Daniel Craig's era came along and ruined it.
Yeah. I miss that. I really do miss that.
I think people take the gun barrel logo for granted. It's one of the most creative ways I've ever seen to open a movie. Like, the fact that there's been a bunch of these movies and you just expect it, but just put your mind back in 1962. There was nothing like that at the time. It's just an incredibly creative way to open a movie. Okay, we've said enough about how this was filmed. The editing, awful. Cinematography, awful. I mean, do you like the score by David Arnold?
No.
Forgettable.
I think he was at least matching the tone of the film. It's a ridiculous sounding score for a ridiculous movie. It's definitely my least favorite David Arnold score, though. Like, you think the next film he does, Casino Royale, has an incredible score.
That's probably a good way to put it, in that it fit the film itself, but for a 40th anniversary Bond, pretty underwhelming.
And what about the title song by Madonna?
Bro.
God, I wrote down, it could be used to torture prisoners at CIA black sites.
So it's still an earworm for me. It's still very memorable. I don't love it. It really just gets stuck in your head.
I agree. I hate it for it. I think it's probably the worst song in the series.
Yeah,
Did either of you catch this? And this is pretty rare in the series. Anton probably knows what I'm talking about a little bit more than Kai, because I've talked with him about this. You can hear an instrumental version of the title song playing from the DJ in the Ice Palace when Bond arrives and he's getting the martini. The DJ is playing some kind of instrumental version of the song, which means the song exists in the movie's world, which is even more confusing because Madonna's in the movie not playing Madonna. Anton, you know this has happened before in Live and Let Die, Man with the Golden Gun, and apparently, according to Octopussy, the James Bond theme exists in the world of James Bond too.
Yeah, this also thematically occurred in Halloween 3.
Yes, they're watching Halloween. What if Brosnan was like watching like Goldfinger in his hotel?
He's like, my cover's blown.
Oh shit. This may surprise you both. I really like the title sequence. The visuals, I think, are pretty awesome. The ice and the fire and the scorpion. Yeah, I think it's really cool.
You're willing to overlook the low polygon graphics?
Yes.
Huh.
I just think I like the fire ice dynamic they had going on. I thought it was cool. And I like how, which is completely unique to the series, it advances the plot. I thought that was interesting.
I guess, I see what you're saying, just in terms of him being tortured while Madonna is playing. Really, it literally advances the plot.
Yes. Do any of the other ones do that in the series? I don't think so.
No, I can't think of one.
While the title song is playing, I can't think of one.
No. You'll see imagery that's like related to the plot, like naked women dripping with oil in The World Is Not Enough, but it wasn't moving the plot forward like this was, which I thought that was really cool. It was creative on their part. Look there, we found a positive. Look at that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they managed to compress 14 months into, 3 minutes?
Yeah, pretty good storytelling.
Yeah, I love the look Bond gives his torturer dominatrix lady. Ugh. Send my complaints to concierge.
She wasn't bad looking. Just saying.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a Bond movie. What do you expect? I probably should have mentioned this earlier, but I wrote this down because this really stood out to me. The Ice Palace looks like a leftover set from Batman and Robin. Like, it's definitely Mr. Freeze's like hideout.
Well, it's mainly the interior that's actual practical, right?
Yeah. I mean,
it looks
just basically turns into a Joel Schumacher movie around that point, right?
It really does, because then you got people getting taken out with chandeliers,
lasers, Mr. Kill.
It's embarrassing.
Taken out by a laser.
That's embarrassing.
I like how the lasers only have like one setting to either cut a diamond precisely or just go crazy mode.
Or just go crazy mode, yeah.
There's no other setting. Okay, we always have to talk about Omega Seamasters here, Kai. I mean, no watch has ever looked better on an actor in a movie, I don't think.
Are Seamasters pretty gettable if I were to go to like a show? Like, would I be able to negotiate pretty good price for one in cash?
A show? Like a watch show?
I don't
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like
they have watch shows?
I've never been to one.
No.
Yeah.
I would not buy a watch at a show.
Okay.
How much money you thinking do you want to spend, Anton? You can get a nice Seamaster for like $2-3 grand, like a really nice used Seamaster.
Yeah. Okay, I was actually thinking just like $2,000, but if
you could, definitely could. Yeah.
You can get the one Brosnan wears for like $2 grand. I think the one he wears is quartz.
He wore quartz and GoldenEye. The rest of them, it's automatic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but so this is the same one that Craig wears in Casino Royale in some of the scenes. Early on in the film, he's got a Planet Ocean on, and then by the poker scenes, it's the same Seamaster as this.
Omega.
Yeah, you can get Anton $2 grand. You can get a nice one. Anton's like, all right, I might have to. Some other positives for me. As usual, I love how Brosnan is dressed in these films.
It's not just how he's dressed, though, right? He wears it well.
He's always dressed appropriately. That floral shirt he shows up with at Cuba, it's like perfect.
Mm-hmm. Mojito.
Mojito.
Let me pass you a mojito.
Too strong for you? Mojito.
Mr. Bond, welcome to Cuba.
I love that guy. The most interesting man in the world.
Oh, yeah, he's great.
Yeah. Again, not used enough. I wish he
It's,
had been featured more prominently in the film. He could have been, you could tell, like, that should have been a much cooler character.
On location Bond ally.
Yeah. Love that. Love that
Yeah,
stuff.
the Bond support of the world.
We have not made the delectados in over 30 years.
Now enjoy your mojito, Mr. Bond.
I love that tan suit that he wears to trash the clinic. Tan suits with white shirts just look good. Yeah, all the Brioni suits in this are spot on. I mean, what do you expect? The guy was born in a suit, Pierce Brosnan.
As he's trashing the clinic, I just want to see the lobby, and there's all of the anime fans that are like, no, we were so close to becoming Japanese.
What do you think happened to the South African guy that he knocks out and he puts in the wheelchair? Which, by the way, that might be the funniest part of the film. That's pretty good.
He just fucking yeets him down the hall.
You think yeah, that's one of the best parts of the movie for sure.
That is pretty hilarious.
I like when he remember he just knocks him out and then he says good morning to the woman on the bed. She's just like, hola.
Yeah.
Buenos dias.
There's a lot of funny moments in this film.
There are good moments. Yeah. Do you think that guy died in the fire? Or do you think they got him out of there? Okay. What nationality do you think he was trying to become?
We just gotta hope they all for totally different reasons, by the way.
The rules are whatever you become, someone else has to become your original nationality.
He switches with Zhao.
Yeah.
There's no pool here. This house is on bloody stilts. Oh, man. Next reason why this wasn't better. Let's talk about the villain and his plan. And just once again, I want to reiterate for all the non-Bond fans, this film's plot and villain are very similar to the novel Moonraker. But we're not here to talk about Hugo Drax. We're here to talk about Gustav Graves. Worst villain in the series?
G Money.
Double G.
Double G. Triple G. The third G's for good. Because, he's good for it. Gustav Graves.
Well, since no one answered my question, I'll answer my own question. I think he's the worst villain in the series.
Yeah, he's the least interesting, I think.
Well, I actually like this villain. I don't think Moon and eventually Graves are a bad villain. I would say the worst villain is probably Dominic Green from Quantum of Solace.
That's a good one.
Fucking water rights.
Or
Get the fuck out of here.
even two films before this. Mr. Media Mogul.
That's
pretty believable. That's believable.
He's bad, but this whole thing with the Korean guy changing his face, I think he's the worst.
Hilarious.
It's funny, but I think Graves is the worst just because of how ludicrous the plan is.
Oh no, his plan is awful, and I have a lot of thoughts about what he's doing.
Do you like the actor Toby Stevens?
I don't mind him.
Do you know who he is? Do you know who his mother is?
I don't.
Anton, did you know this?
Mr. Stevens?
Yes.
Regale us.
Maggie Smith. Dame Maggie Smith. Yes.
That's crazy.
Coming from royalty.
That's crazy. That's actually... So...
Is that Professor McGonagall?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, man.
That is really cool.
Talk about a lot to live up to. I mean, she's one of the most respected actors ever.
Dang.
You want to go through his plan then?
Hang on. Going back to Stevens for a second, was that actually him speaking Korean? Because I thought that was actually pretty impressive.
I don't know, but if it was, sure, we can give him credit.
I was going to say, I don't know if there was anyone else that would have ADR'd in while he's speaking, but yeah, pretty decent. Yeah. I could see the chilling look on everyone else's face when he starts speaking Korean. They're like, oh shit.
All right, let's start with his plan then. So his body's just never found? Like, did they look for it?
Go with my son.
Okay.
Did they not look for the body? Because he doesn't fall that far off the waterfall. You know what I mean? Like,
or they produced a fake body to cover it up.
Who?
His team, because he had to have a team to help fake his death.
So he was going to plan to go over the waterfall when Bond showed up?
He's very resourceful.
I genuinely think he came up with it once he was falling, and he was like, "Oh shit! Now I can fake my death and become white."
I've always wanted to do I've always had this idea to become an Argentinian diamond mine mogul.
Ever since I was a young boy.
But I'm going to have a British accent, and I'm going to operate out of Iceland.
Okay, so yes, the whole the way to get to Gustav Graves doesn't make sense because he clearly is surprised by James Bond coming out of nowhere when Bond arrives for the diamond pickup and weapons drop off.
So let's go through his plan. So Moon fakes his death, flees North Korea, changes his entire face and features via gene replacement therapy, assumes the Gustav Graves identity, sets up a fake diamond empire in Iceland by using African blood diamonds to do it. He donates enough money to charity to get himself knighted. He starts a space program when he launches satellites, and then he hatches this plan to use a space laser to wage war on South Korea. He accomplishes all of this in 14 months.
All of this happens off screen, by the way.
Right.
Well, it makes no sense. It's very stupid. I'm still perplexed by all of this. Also, is to unite the peninsula. Like it's still that is the big plan.
Correct.
I don't know. That seems too focused.
My single biggest issue with his plan beyond doing all this in 14 months is the fact that as soon as he has the laser, he doesn't use it to take out the Western military forces, because that would guarantee that he can do whatever he wants. He would have conquered Korea uncontested.
Well, that's what I'm saying, Kai. He could have done so much more, but he's so focused on using it in Korea. Like just use it everywhere else, or use it to take out the Western forces, or
it just makes no sense. Yeah,
I don't know.
Dumbest plot in the series? Pretty close. We might have to do a ranking episode, Anton, on Bond plots.
Dumbest plots.
Some of them are pretty stupid. This has got to be close to the bottom, though.
Also, did he actually have enough diamonds to become like a billionaire? Like, where did that person who was smuggling to him get that many diamonds, and why didn't they themselves become a billionaire?
I guess it's implied he has all this money from being like a corrupt military person, because he's got all those cars and shit.
Right, but this seems like billions level.
But he was buying blood diamonds and then passing them off as diamonds that he mined in Iceland?
So I'm pretty sure the source of his money as Graves came from the suitcase of diamonds that Bond gave him.
But that's blown up.
But how else would you explain like all the blood diamonds that are suddenly not?
Wait, no. Remember in the beginning, it's implied that he already had this relationship with that diamond guy.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, he's like, "Oh yeah, like you've been working with us for a while, or whatever, or something." Like, I don't know.
So his idea is to take blood diamonds, put a laser logo on them, so people don't think that they're conflict diamonds, so that he can sell them. Or do they go for more money than conflict? This makes no sense.
Yeah,
no, I mean, diamonds are set at like a universal price by the carat. And
so he had to have had a lot of diamonds to get
right.
The
If
amount
he has
of
a
money.
fake mine, we're talking about a lot of diamonds that you would have to have. That's a lot of blood diamonds.
That's a lot of I don't know if he had that many diamonds.
It's a lot of hands getting cut off. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe that's why they had to send Zhao to the gene replacement therapy place. Get those.
They obviously had. They were obviously flush with diamonds because they don't need the ones that are in his face. He got to keep those.
I do want to say, by the way, I thought Zhao was probably my favorite character in the movie.
He's the only cool character in the movie.
He's too good for this movie. He deserves to be in a better Bond movie.
Agreed. I agree with that.
I like to think of the gags that could have occurred if he was in a lesser film. They're going out for some drive-through, and then they look at Zhao's face and say, "Is this one on you? I see you brought your wallet with you."
What does Bond say to him? "I really missed your sparkling personality." And he hits him in the stomach, and he says, "How's that for a punchline?" It's great dialogue from Purvis and Wade.
And then he kicks him again. "You sent the DEA to my parents' house."
I never knocked on nobody.
What's his name in Fast and the Furious?
Johnny Tran.
Johnny Tran. He drives a Honda S2000, right?
He does.
Mm-hmm.
Too soon, Junior.
Too soon. What happened to Rick Yoon? He should have had a better career.
This was his peak, I think.
He does TV.
Yeah.
He does TV, I'm pretty sure.
I'm sure he does TV. By the way, we're forgetting that during or prior to faking his death and becoming Gustav Graves, Colonel Moon recruited Miranda Frost to work for him. Just in case he needed an MI6 agent. You know what I mean?
Also off screen.
Also off screen, right?
That is crazy charisma to do that, by the way.
Do you remember her motivation? She's like, he likes to win. It's like, What the fuck does
Like,
that
what?
mean?
Like, what?
What does that mean?
She just saw him bet on 16 black 30 times in a row.
Well, he arranges for her opponent to have an overdose at the Olympics, so she ends up winning the gold medal. It's like, what?
It's crazy.
I think my favorite part about the plot is that, do you remember towards the end, M says to Michael Madsen's character, she's like, if only you had disclosed that she was on the Harvard fencing team with Moon. It's like, did MI6 not do a background check?
Inexcusable.
Inexcusable.
They didn't check her Sony Ericsson. That's it.
They didn't check the yearbook at Harvard. Like, oh yeah, she went to school with that Moon guy. I wrote down, Bond is the only person in the world who's able to determine that the Graves diamonds are identical to blood diamonds. He's able to figure this out in 12 seconds using a magnifying glass. Like, no one else noticed this in the world.
I don't think it's possible to actually do that, but I mean, we'll roll with that.
I'm glad you asked, Kai, because I asked ChatGPT. It is not possible. You cannot tell where a diamond came from with a magnifying glass. You can do chemical tests because certain minerals from certain parts of the world will have more or less trace elements of other things. But no, you can't do that with a magnifying glass.
With a loop?
No.
I mean, I personally think that it would have benefited the film if you take out the gene replacement therapy plot, but you still have him trying to disguise himself as a British guy, except he's just going the old school route, just paint, makeup,
Whiteface.
And then just whiteface, completely
Straight
going
up
whiteface. Same actor as the beginning of the film, just have him go whiteface the rest of the film.
There's a movie that came out recently that kind of talks about this exact topic.
Really?
You guys seen Slant?
No, I have not.
It's about an Asian American teenager who wants to be white so bad she does a full face replacement thing to become white.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a dark comedy horror movie. It's
did the actor actually put on whiteface, or was it a different actor playing?
Different actor.
Because I want the original.
You want white chicks.
I want white chicks level of heavy makeup on.
There is precedent for this in James Bond because Sean Connery's James Bond went undercover as a Japanese man at one point.
So this is just taking the series full circle.
This is pretty believable, I think. And this also brings up the question, to your point, Anton, why go the full DNA thing? You don't need to replace your DNA, which, by the way, also not possible.
You really don't need to do that.
You don't. You just need whiteface.
I kind of think they wanted an excuse to make Zhao more badass by making him blue-eyed.
Albino?
Yeah, albino and blue-eyed. He looked like a Freeman.
So at what point do you think they were going to take the diamonds out of his face? Because that's like a dead giveaway, right?
I don't think they were. I think he was like, leave it. The shit is drippy.
Leave it. It doesn't heal.
Yeah, by the way, gene replacement therapy is real, but it's not
DNA replacement therapy is not.
Yeah, gene therapy is literally reintroducing certain genes when you have certain diseases where you can't produce those genes.
Right. You can't actually replace your DNA though.
Yeah, that's impossible.
That is not possible. There's a lot of things in this film that aren't possible. Also, maybe the dumbest part of the plot, and there are many dumb parts. Moon tells Bond he modeled his Graves persona after Bond, a guy that he met for 5 minutes.
He's a British assassin? That's so cool. I want to be British.
His name's James Bond, a British assassin.
At some point, this guy thought to himself, I would let him sleep with my girlfriend.
And then he
was it his girlfriend, Miranda Frost?
I think it's strongly implied that they had a relationship of some kind.
I thought Moon and Zhao had a thing.
Moon and Zhao?
Oh, yeah. I think so.
Super, and that... Whoa, I never thought about that. That's a whole other layer.
You think they were gay?
Yes, I do. In the scene in Iceland where Zhao shows up wearing the Sith Lord outfit, they're real close together after Graves comes out of the dream mask. Their faces are this close. But a film in 2002 wasn't going to do that.
It's like we're one step away from the master plan. Once we unify Korea, we can finally be together.
I'm not the only person who's thought this either. This is an internet theory. Although, you have the two gay characters in Diamonds Are Forever, also involving diamonds.
are assassins in the film.
They're assassins.
Yeah,
Kai, you got to see that movie, Diamonds Are Forever.
that one is crazy. Also involves diamonds.
Also involves a similarly confusing diamond plot and a space laser.
What was another film that utilized solar powered technology? Man with a Golden Gun.
It sure did. Yeah, there's a laser in that one. You want to move on and talk about the next reason?
Let's do it.
There's nothing else to say about the plot. It's atrocious. So number 3 reason, the storytelling, you could include the tone under this. Roger Moore disliked this movie. He cited the invisible car and the weak CGI as being a low points for the franchise.
Whoa,
Correct.
Roger Moore. Where's that coming from? I mean, he let his own daughter be in the film.
His daughter is in the film.
Ooh.
She plays the flight attendant that hands James Bond his martini
as he's landing in the UK
when they start playing London Calling, which, by the way, that was my first sign the movie was maybe not going to go well. When London Calling starts playing, you're like,
that's a little cheesy.
A little bit. So Kai, you've seen some of the Roger Moores, very campy, but they had a self-awareness that this doesn't.
Oh, yeah, this movie can't decide what it's trying to be.
There are scenes where it's really trying to be serious. Everything in this gets taken too far.
Just a little bit.
No subtlety.
I'm like 99% sure they made the car invisible purely because they were like, man, Vanquish is so close to vanish. If only. I'm like pretty sure that's why that happened.
Well, the whole I'd say the scene introduction to that is actually pretty funny.
With the new Q.
It was I think and here's your ride, and what is it Bond says I think you've been down here too long.
Yeah.
There's some good jokes in here for sure.
Yeah, if anything for this film, the film is not short on comedy, whether on purpose or definitely not on purpose.
There's a lot of bad unintentional comedy for sure. It starts in the pre-title sequence too. I mean, I laughed at, I don't think it was supposed to be funny. Do you remember when the two hovercrafts are battling each other?
Exactly which one you're talking
about. Moon tries shooting him with an AK, and then he tries like a 50 caliber machine gun, and then he tries like a flamethrower.
There's the rocket launcher at one point.
Yeah, it's like like the Naked Gun levels of escalation. It's really funny.
I still think that has to be my favorite visual in the film. Is everything's blowing up around them. People are just like getting yeeted left and right, but then the diamond inspector is still like, there's a very specific scene of the dude still just inspecting the diamonds. It's like, oh, live your life. Like that's his passion.
He was locked in.
How did he survive? I'm trying to find stuff.
I don't know.
I don't want this to be completely negative, our review of this. I'm trying to find stuff I like. The miniature work is awesome in the pre-title sequence. All the hovercraft stuff. A lot of the shots that you see of the hovercraft are miniatures.
Well, the hovercraft going off the waterfall, miniature.
Looks great.
Yeah, looks
But
really
even
good.
like, you know, when you see the hovercrafts like flipping in the air and anytime they explode and stuff, that's all miniature work because they were using real hovercrafts, but they couldn't maneuver them well.
Yeah, they were doing a lot of like heavy lifting for big hovercraft in 2002. Really kept them afloat.
One thing the Bond movies always get right is the practical effects. I mean, I think Chris Corbould, we talked about him on GoldenEye, Kai. You know, he did the tank. He's responsible for the tank chase and everything. He did all the practical effects in like The Dark Knight. He designed the tumbler. He did that whole truck chase in The Dark Knight. Just an awesome special effects supervisor. And did good work here. He came up with how to practically do the car battle on the frozen lake. They converted both those cars to all-wheel drive. Pretty cool. I mean, it's pretty cool stuff. I mean, they filmed that for real, a lot of that stuff. I mean, you have to give it, as silly as that scene is, it's pretty cool that they filmed all that practically.
There's parts of the car battle that are like really cool, but it just drags on like way too long.
Right.
Like I kind of think once you reveal all the gadgets, just end it in the next 30 seconds because I don't want to watch like another 4 minutes of them chasing each other.
It's such a dumb car chase too because you're like, well, why would Zal have that car? It doesn't make sense.
It's gonna sound really cheesy, but as a kid, because I'd seen so many James Bond films, and this was a Bond film that really was trying to reference a lot of films in the past, it actually did achieve like a level of satisfaction for me at the time of, oh, this is a reference to that film, or this is a reference to this film.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Like when he uses the ejector seat to flip the car back over, like that's pretty cool. Like there are little things in it that I think work. But to Kai's point, doesn't move the plot forward.
Yeah, no, they just spend too much time like just driving around, like especially when they drive into the palace and they're like going in circles. I'm like, what is the point of this?
Well, I think part of it too is just there's a lot of the film's plot or the storytelling at least does get sacrificed in lieu of Easter egg moments. Like, for example, James Bond has his binoculars on in Cuba, and that's when we first meet Jinx. Slow-mo Jinx intro in a bikini, which is of course very iconic James Bond, but I don't know, it felt like a lot to me.
Definitely feels like a lot. Even before we get there, I've seen this movie enough times, sadly, to notice Brosnan repeatedly lapses into his native Irish accent. Did you catch this?
No.
Doesn't do it in any of the other films, and he does it here. It's pretty funny. I like how he slows down his heart via traumatic memories of his torture. He uses that to stop his heart.
That's brutal. It's dark and brutal.
Just once again, I hate that Michael Madsen is in this. I hate his character so much. I hate that he's ordering M around. I hate that he's giving the Koreans orders. I hate everything in his office. When he's on the video conference, it's like there's like a gun, an American flag, the football. I hate his character so much.
They sure you know he's American.
Oh.
I was gonna say they probably did a good job then of like, because I think everyone had that same takeaway, like this is an annoying character. This is the Americans trying to dictate and like boss around everyone around them.
I don't understand why he just wasn't the head of the CIA. Jinx is an NSA agent. It doesn't make sense. They're a signals intelligence agency, unless it's Splinter Cell. But this isn't Splinter Cell.
They fix the relationship and then bring back the classiness in the next film with Felix Leiter, right?
100%. Anton, prepare to be disappointed. Again, even more. So when Bond shows up at the hotel in Hong Kong, which actually that's a pretty fun scene where he just walks in and he looks like shit. Michelle Yeoh's character, Wei Lin, was supposed to be in those scenes.
Yeah, and as the, Bond support allies of the world, I thought that would have been really cool.
It would have been great. It's a huge missed opportunity.
But instead, it's...
I groaned when I read that. I'm like, come on. Why didn't they do that? Why couldn't they get that to work?
Instead, we find out they were just trying to get some really tantalizing footage of James Bond.
They were hiding in his closet.
What were they going to do with that footage, you think?
Jack off to it.
I don't know. Like, were they going to blackmail him? Like, he bangs a masseuse? Like, okay, he's James Bond. He's not married.
I was going to say, like, that's exactly it. I'm like, sure, you get this, but what are you going to achieve? He's going to be like, can I have a copy of that?
Yeah, right.
So I think the Chinese blamed Bond for what happened in Korea, and they were going to have the masseuse ask him stuff during their encounter, and they were spying on him to see if he was going to give him some information. I think that was what they were trying to do. But this is a lot of like hurdles in my head to like jump through to like reach that conclusion.
I mean,
you're giving them a lot of credit there.
I was going to say, like, I like the idea more that they were just like, we're going to catch him bang.
How long were they in his closet for?
Well, probably they were expecting a long time, because I don't know if you caught this. The guy holding the camera definitely had a cigarette in his mouth.
He was smoking. I did catch that. Yes.
So he's like, all right, we're going to be here a while.
It's funny how the guy's like, Hong Kong's our turf now, Bond. He's like, yeah, I'm not here to take it back. And then they send him to Cuba. All right, here we get to meet Jinx. Mojito.
Well, we get Jinx and, of course, the most interesting man in the world.
Well, I like that guy, and they don't use him enough. But you're right, Anton. He could have been Columbo. He could have been Karen Bay, and they don't. Mm-hmm. So we get Jinx. Kai, do you want to talk about how bad the dialogue is?
It's like physically cringe-inducing. Like, I don't really remember the specifics of what they were saying, but it was shit like, what are the predators doing here? Where do they go at sunset? I'm just like, what the fuck are we talking about?
It's double entendre answered by double entendre. It's not clever. You know, Bond movies always have clever dialogue. This one doesn't. It's idiotic. I know what you mean. Yeah. It carries on later. Like, remember when Miranda Frost says to Jinx, he's like, oh, Mr. Bond, did he explain his Big Bang Theory to you? And she's like, yeah, I think I got the thrust of it.
Look, it's 2 degrees away from a bad porn parody. Like, the lines are there.
It's more Austin Powers than James Bond, and that's the problem. Like, that's what Austin Powers would say.
Well, even I mean, they give Madonna the same double entendres. What does she say? Like, I don't like cockfights.
Yes. What
To your
what
point-
does
to
Bond
your
say
point,
to her?
Anton-
I've been known to keep my tip up. Like all just
Oh, come on!
God.
Like, just the whole film. It's just so bad.
To your point, Anton, this series of bad dialogue does lead directly into a sex scene that kind of drags on a little bit longer than most other Bond
a real
movies.
sex scene.
Which personally, I don't think you need it.
Well, in the director's commentary, Lee Tamahori explains he wanted to put a real sex scene because he thought James Bond was just in prison for 14 months, and he would really want to like go at it.
That's too much.
Don't laugh.
That is just too much.
Oh yeah, what is it like? What did she say? He's like, I'm an ornithologist. She's like, now there's a mouthful.
When I was in prison, I wanted to have sex with a woman, but I couldn't, so I compromised.
I ate grilled cheese off the radiator.
Exactly.
Oh, Phil Leotardo. What did he say? I wanted manicotti, but I ate grilled cheese off the radiator.
I ate grilled cheese off the radiator.
Compromised. There's no scraps in my scrapbook. Halle Berry is atrocious. And
Yeah.
Kai, we were on The World's Not Enough. I think I said it then. Denise Richards gets all this crap. I think Halle Berry's worse.
100%. So here's where I'm conflicted. I think they're both really bad at the acting, but I think the character of Jinx is better than Christmas Jones. Like,
On paper,
of,
yes.
of all the Bond girls out there, I actually think Jinx has a remarkable amount of like competency and agency, which you generally don't see in Bond movies.
Well, that's probably more so just Halle Berry's natural charisma, because I do think she's a good actor. I just think that
Really?
She's not good in this movie.
What's she good
in
in?
this movie? She was really
Catwoman.
good. Monsters Ball,
It's an undeserved Oscar. Don't agree.
Swordfish, Boomerang.
Good acting?
I mean, fine acting. I don't think she's a bad actor.
I think she's bad. I don't think I've ever seen her anything and I thought was good. Other than she looks good.
X-Men. You know what happens when you hit a toad with lightning? Okay, Halle Berry in this film is pretty terrible.
Terrible. Not
Yeah,
well
we were
written, but yeah, she's bad.
We were talking about this a little bit earlier, but like she doesn't really look familiar with a gun, and that's problematic for like a secret agent. And it's interesting because later on she'd go on to do John Wick 3, and she looks really good with a gun there because she had actual training.
Yes. Great point.
She ruins her career a few films after this when she makes Catwoman in 2004, or she's in Catwoman in 2004.
That was a setback, for sure.
Oh.
Oh, I know what the worst shot in the film is. Her backwards CGI dive off the cliff
That was so bad.
in Cuba.
That was so bad.
Yeah. She's like,
that could have been a practical shot.
could have been. You know, one of the common defenses of this film that you hear is there are people that like this film. You can go on the James Bond subreddit and find defenders of this film. They will tell you that the first half is really good.
I mean,
I would say it's okay.
it's better than the second half. I'd agree with that.
That's correct.
But I don't think it's good.
I think it's watchable.
Like, okay, my favorite scene, like no joke, that a scene that I thought was enjoyable was the fencing scene.
To me, that's the best scene in the movie.
I thought it was really fun.
It's well choreographed. I agree with you, Kai. It's probably the best scene in the film. I think the only issue with it is you putting Brosnan up against a much younger villain was, I think, a little detrimental. Like, I don't really believe Bond can beat this guy in a fight. You know what I mean?
Part of it is he did have to do a lot of evading, right?
Yeah, he's clearly not in advantage state for like most of the fight. He's like running away. Like,
Yeah. I almost feel bad for Brosnan, but then I remember he was paid $16.5 million to be in this movie. So I think I read in an interview with him where he said, like, I wasn't happy with the film, but like this paid for my house in Hawaii. So like it worked out.
That's so badass.
Really good for you, Pierce Brosnan.
Well, it's gonna pay for the house, but then by the way, like the property tax, I think it'll maybe cover 5 years, and then he has to do another film.
He's made out all right. He's had a pretty good post-Bond career.
Yeah, I mean he's still working today.
Yeah, works all the time. He's going to be in the Cliffhanger remake coming out later this year, Anton. We're all excited for that.
He was So, did I see Black Adam? Yes. I saw it on a plane. He was probably the best part about that film.
How bad was that film?
It's terrible, but he actually is really fun. I would totally see a movie.
Is he the bad guy?
He's like the elder statesman superhero.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and like he's so cool. Like I would actually really love to see a film with him as the lead.
So after this fight at Blade's Club, Bond is immediately accepted back into the Secret Service, no strings attached.
By the way, that's not the same Blades Club as in the beginning of Blade.
It's not. The bloodbath?
Yeah, that's not the same Blade Club.
I'm sure you could find one of them in London, though. No doubt. It's, I mean, nothing they could do about it. But I think when Bond returns from Korea, it's like he does not look like a guy that's been tortured. He's just remarkably well fed.
A little too fed?
Yeah, this is definitely the heaviest that Brosnan would ever be. And by the way, not saying Brosnan looks bad. For 49 years old in this movie, he looks incredible.
Who knows? Maybe they were force feeding him in torture.
They were overfeeding him.
All they had in North Korea was McDonald's.
They would sting him with scorpions, and they would feed him the scorpions.
You know, this movie's bad. I don't even mind the invisible car.
It's not one of the. To me, it's not the problematic part of this movie.
It's not.
People always bring it up when you mention Die Another Day. They're like, "Oh, the invisible car is so bad." I'm like, it's stupid, but it's
not offensive.
No.
He also technically wins the fight because of the invisibility. So like you can't even.
It worked out. Did you ever see that episode of Top Gear where they try to do something similar with a car? They put TV screens all over it, and they have cameras, and they try to project. Look it up on YouTube. It's pretty interesting.
Okay. I think BMW was trying to do that a while back with like LEDs or something like that.
Yeah, it's the military's tried to do like adaptive camouflage. It's based on like a real concept. Obviously, it doesn't work the way it would work in this film, and also like the car has windows, so you see the windows.
Did they ever have that feature for the Nissan SR20s?
I don't believe so.
Well, the person we could ask, of course, is Johnny Tran.
I mean, a couple of SR20s before Race Wars will pull a premium.
And Vin Diesel shows up. He said, "You got the model with the adaptive camouflage. It's pretty cool."
By the way, like I love that that's what it was called, and like no one batted an eye. It was Race Wars.
Yeah, Monica.
No, Monica.
Do you think this movie needed Ja Rule?
It could have used it.
Like, what if Ja Rule was one of the henchmen working for Graves?
Ja Rule as Mr. Kill would have been pretty sick. Imagine when he dies, he goes, "No, Monica."
Monica. Oh, it would have been better than this. Mr. Kill, I mean, goddamn, they weren't even trying. They had just given up. How were Purvis and Wade not fired after this, Anton? They brought them back. Back.
If this movie didn't make money, I think they absolutely would have been fired.
That's where this movie just repeatedly crosses the line. Like, if you're naming one of the characters Mr. Kill, what's the differentiation between that and what Austin Powers was doing? Nothing. It really does go in the toilet when they get to Iceland. I mean, if you want to call the first half watchable, I would say I think the second half is like pretty much unwatchable. I really struggled to get through it. And Anton, I like
cheesy.
some bad Bond movies.
There's just so much suspension of disbelief required to get through the second half of it.
I think it just, once I think about the film as a whole. Now, Bond films do this where sometimes you get, like, Bond is intent on, like, some sort of specific mission. Like, I gotta figure out what's the source of this. Or in this film, it was, someone betrayed me. But then you forget it really quick. I think it's just the difference with this film is the enjoyment factor decreases so significantly because of how poorly the plot develops and how much bad moments like the CGI take you out of any enjoyment factor in the film.
I'm glad you brought up the betrayal thing because that's another issue I have with it. Like, the Miranda Frost betrayal is pretty telegraphed early on, but it doesn't mean anything because we're not introduced to her until like way later in the movie. It would have worked much more if she was actually involved in like the opening sequence, or like we heard, or even if we heard her voice as like an operator in the back or something like that. But like the fact that she betrays Bond, I'm like, okay, I literally don't care.
And even then, like I mentioned it earlier, her motivation is that she's talking about Moon. She's just like, he likes to win. Like, what does that mean? What is she getting out of this?
It's very ambiguous. She should have just mentioned that Moon's going to be running 3 Honda Civics with spoon engines. And on top of that, he just came into Harry's and he ordered 3 T66 turbos with NOS and a Motec system exhaust.
Nobody orders the tuna melt here.
The day we actually cover that film, it's funny.
Which one?
I think the first one, because it's not a good film.
I need to be in every single Fast and Furious episode. I'm just putting that out there right now.
Okay.
Every single one of them.
I
Yeah.
really want to cover Too Fast, Too Furious, which is probably my favorite one.
So that one is such a fun film. The first one's not a good film. It's basically just it's Point Break but cars.
Right.
But it's still memorable because it paints everything in the 2000s. Sorry, I'm getting so interested in Fast and Furious.
I mean, I was about to correct myself. My favorite one is Tokyo Drift.
Oh, so good.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite movie posters, too. I used to have it in my dorm room at college until it ripped. What are you going to do? I was drinking too much Finlandia vodka. I don't know.
As a quick aside, I always found it interesting how the Tokyo Drift movie poster doesn't actually feature a hero car. It features the top secret 350Z that DK's friend drives.
Oh,
that's a very good observation.
Incredible observation.
It's called the T-Hair 350Z.
Is that a famous one?
So it's T-Hair because the car itself is like bleach blonde, like the driver's hair. That's why it's called.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
No,
Love
that's
the poster.
cool.
Love it. So, man, we're really trying to do anything but talk about this film. I mean, I wrote down the Dream Mask machine thing is like something from a Sci-Fi Channel movie. Like I can't believe it's in a Bond movie.
Yeah, no thanks. No thank you.
I thought they were saying that it's a dream mask in the sense that they needed it to continue with their therapy, but that it was the only time where they could actually relax. Are you saying that they were actually trying to dream inside of this mask?
What they do say is because he can't sleep because of the DNA replacement therapy, he like loses the ability to sleep, and the dream mask is the only thing that like quote keeps him sane. It's nonsense. I mean, it's.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Just
nonsense.
unnecessary. Like
Almost as unnecessary as his RoboCop Iron Man Nintendo Power Glove suit, which he uses to control Icarus, which is maybe the coolest thing in the movie, or dumbest, depending on what mood you're in.
Is it just to make it easy for the audience to know how he controls it? Just use Power Glove arm?
Yes? No? I don't know.
Like, that's so, like, it's crazy to think, like, well, let's dumb it down. Just use the glove to control the Icarus beam. It's like, he has to go undercover. Let's give him gene replacement therapy. That'll make sense.
DNA replacement therapy.
Yeah, right. DNA.
He wasn't sick, Anton.
Right.
Just the whole thing on the plane. I mean, it's the worst ending to a Bond movie ever. The climax on the plane is just god awful.
Yeah, it's just drags. It's just.
But we have to talk about something. When Moon reveals his identity to his father, and he kills him. Anton, you know we've talked about this before on the pod.
Yep.
So Kai, I don't know if you caught this. The soundtrack has this vaguely Asian, Middle Eastern wailing chanting that was really a trend from that era that was started by Gladiator.
It was like
right after he shoots his father, you hear like on the soundtrack. It's on the soundtrack. It is included on the track titled Antonov. It's about 5 minutes into the track. You can go on Spotify and listen to it right now.
That was a really bad trend of the time.
That might be the most 2002 thing about the movie. Gladiator did this. Black Hawk Down did this. Troy did this. It's not something you hear in films anymore.
Hulk did this.
Hulk, you're right. Hulk did do that.
Could you argue that Dune is doing it right now?
You could.
If Dune does it, it's a bit more appropriate.
Yeah, but that's a really good shout out. Dune might be doing that, but not.
And I'm making the Dune connection too because I mean, Zhao is basically a Fremen in this movie.
Right.
No. I was gonna say Ridley Scott does this.
I think it was used well in Gladiator. Like that's the best example, the best use of it.
It's in Kingdom of Heaven.
It is. At least that was in the desert, and it was like in
Right.
medieval times, and you could maybe, I don't know. It doesn't work here though. When he shoots his father and it cuts to the slow motion, I just laughed, and you shouldn't be laughing.
It's supposed to be a very emotional scene, but I don't think anyone actually found it emotional. At least I think so.
We don't see enough interaction between Moon and Moon in the beginning parts of the movie to even
General Moon's like, when you were a young lad, I knew you always wanted to be Argentinian British.
I didn't understand it. Your mother and I could not understand why you were so obsessed with Argentina.
Like, there's just nothing to make me know that they have some kind of relationship. So when like that it falls apart, I'm just like, it's confusing.
What does he say too? Like, I don't like torture, but
he's like, I don't condone what they do here. What's the line that Moon or Gustav Graves says on the plane? Remember, he's like, Father, it's time to watch your sun rise.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh my gosh. And then when the hole gets blown in the side of the plane and Vlad and the other Korean generals get sucked out, like that's again just great.
That's actually pretty
horrible
funny.
CGI. So great.
It's actually pretty funny.
Oh man.
If you think about it, this movie has a lot in common with Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, I was half expecting Nemoidians to show up at one point on the plane.
Yes, it's getting ridiculous. Now there are two of them.
Yeah, the whole sequence at the end, it's just...
We should not have made this bargain.
If you think about it, the plane sequence is literally the beginning of Revenge of the Sith. And then obviously the space laser is the Death Star.
Right. Icarus. Icarus didn't get destroyed, right? Is it still up there?
It's still there, still chilling,
still floating around.
Who's gonna claim it?
The Graves Corporation owns it officially, I think, right? Is anybody left? Mr. Kill dies, Vlad dies, Gustav Graves dies, Miranda Frost dies when she gets a knife stuck through The Art of War into her chest, and then Halle Berry says, "Read this, bitch." That happened.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm good. I'm
bad.
I'm good, man.
All right, last reason. Do you guys have anything to add? I don't know what else to say about the ending of this movie. It's astonishing.
I think it gets to a certain point where, especially with rewatches, the second half and the ending of the film is just exhausting.
Did you struggle to get through it too?
Yeah, it has this novelty and fun maybe after, because like when I rewatched it a few weeks ago, it'd been a long time since I'd seen it. So like I was like getting reminded like, ooh, yeah, this is really not good. When I tried watching it again these past few days, getting through the end was just really tough. I was like, I just can't, like, this is really bad.
I kind of came to this realization as we were talking about it, but I think the biggest problem with this is this movie tries to do too much and it doesn't succeed at anything at all.
Oh, it's a total kitchen sink movie. They were throwing so many things on the screen.
Well, yeah,
so I actually think one of the coolest, and as an Asian person, I thought that the Asian representation here was actually pretty strong for its time, and that I feel like this was pretty uncommon in movies back in the day. But the fact that they had technically an Asian villain, and they explored the idea of like Asian identity and like. I guess you can call like what he did assimilation in some way. I thought that was like a wasted thing they could have explored. But I don't know, maybe they weren't ready to like talk about topics like that back then.
Well, you touch on something that I think is a strength of Lee Tamahori. He's great at being able to dissect things like that, right? Like being able to look at much more deeper themes around like identity, about race. The film that we mentioned, what is it? Once We're Warriors. Yeah, Once We're Warriors literally talks about that kind of stuff.
Starring Boba Fett.
And it's really, really good. But trying to have like a deeper meaning like that in a Bond film, especially the 40th anniversary one, that just feels like you're throwing in the kitchen sink. And look, I'll double down on this. Give me Gustav Graves, but I want like white chicks version. Like I want full on give me Will Yun Lee in Whiteface. That's what I want.
You could have made it like, so he was trying to do like a plastic surgery thing to like change his face, but he just comes out disfigured. That would have been sick.
That would have been sick, yeah.
But
and would have actually probably been more interesting.
But they didn't do that. last thing I want to talk about before we wrap this up. Why did this actually become Brosnan's final film? Is the question we asked in the beginning, right? Let's try to answer it. His contract was up with this film. He had a 4-film contract. It expired, but Die Another Day was seen as a huge success. Eon wanted to bring him back initially. They began negotiations to return. We already mentioned he appeared in the video game Everything or Nothing in early 2004. It later got reported that Brosnan wanted too much money, that he was asking for $30 million. But that is not really true, and that's not the reason why Eon chose to reboot the series. I was being pretty harsh on Tamahori earlier. I think he did a terrible job directing this film, but this book that I've been reading called Some Kind of Hero, it has these really interesting quotes from him. During production, he saw a screening of The Bourne Identity, and he told Broccoli and Wilson, quote, "Look, this game's changing fast. You're going to have to rethink this," end quote. He later reflected that Martin Campbell had given the series the biggest jolt with GoldenEye, and he stated, quote, "I think Roger Spottiswoode, Michael Apted, and to some degree myself," they're the ones who directed the 2 previous films, "had been marking time with Martin's style. None of us have been able to make the quantum leap he did. When the next person comes along, someone will have the opportunity to push it to the next level. I think it's going to evolve when Pierce gives up and someone else comes along. I don't think it should just be an update of the character. I think it should be a radical reinvention of what the Bond character is and what MI6 is," end quote. It's incredibly prescient from him. And whether or not they would admit it, Broccoli and Wilson listened to him. And who was the man that they hired to reboot the series? Once again, Martin Campbell.
Well, big respects. That's great self-awareness.
It really is. Looking back at it at the time, I mean, I certainly expected to see Brosnan back. I probably read it online. I was pretty, the internet was in full swing by this point. I read, like, they don't want to bring Brosnan back? I'm like, that's crazy. But it makes sense. You watch this the same year that you watch The Bourne Identity, night and day.
No, you're so right. And you get that film, you get a bit of a break, and then once you get Casino Royale, it's a complete game changer.
Kind of like with GoldenEye, though. Did they ever really follow up on Casino Royale and match it? No.
Well, let's see how this next series goes.
We've covered all of the Daniel Craig films except that one. Hint, hint.
Hint, 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 hint.
We might have to because it's the 20th anniversary this year.
Well,
Kai, what do you think? Did Brosnan deserve another film, or do you you're good with what happened?
I don't think Brosnan was ever the problem with his tenure as Bond.
Right.
But I do think, given outside pressures and like the trend of the industry at the time, I don't think it would have made sense for him to continue as Bond. I think changing to someone younger and like more, I guess, rugged and gritty was absolutely the right move.
And MGM went bankrupt again. That never helps things. They love going bankrupt.
Well, that's why we have a lot of great sponsors for Casino Royale.
Right.
Gotta fund that film somehow.
Ford Mondeo. Who could forget?
Omega.
Sony's in that movie. Oh yeah, Sony's all over those movies.
Sony's in this movie.
Sony Vaio. Remember those laptops?
Oh my god, I had one actually
Was it good?
in college. Yeah, served me well.
Fair, solid.
Sony Electronics ruled the early 2000s, I think. They were so on the 2000s, like, cool blue vaporwave shit.
Yeah, they were.
I still love my PSP.
PSP was a great system.
Long gone. All right, gentlemen, anything to add before we bring this home? Give our ratings.
Think I'm ready.
All right. Kai, since you are the guest, you always have the opportunity to go first if you choose it.
I'll choose that. I'm supposed to give like my rating of this movie, right?
You are. A little reasoning on why.
Yeah. I think this movie actually starts off pretty strong and interesting. I think the revenge angle is actually pretty cool and like not too common in Bond up to that point. But then it just very quickly goes off the rails once we get to Iceland. It becomes nonsensical once the space laser is introduced. The dialogue is pretty hard to get through at times. I would argue this movie probably has too much action too, or at the very least, the action sequences it does have like just kind of drag on and overstay their welcome. There's a lot of good ideas here, but there's just too many ideas that don't fit with each other. And this movie doesn't quite stick the landing. I think given all these considerations, I'm going to give it a D. It's a movie and it kind of resembles the shape of a movie, but like the plane, it just kind of falls apart once we get closer to the end.
For me, this film nosedives like the CGI Halle Berry jumping from the cliff into the ocean. There's really not much that I like about this film. I know that we talked about how as a kid I really enjoyed this film. It was my first Bond film, and even that nostalgia can't save it. I learned very quickly upon rewatching that this was not a good movie. And there's a lot about it that I just find very disappointing. It just feels unwatchable at times, especially the second half. It trudges along. It feels like the term the kitchen sink got thrown around in this episode, and I think like that really captures a lot of what this film is. It's a 40th anniversary film, and instead of telling a proper story and adventure in the Bond series, it tries to put too much in the film that drags it down, along with already a lot of questionable storytelling. It's a bummer because Pierce Brosnan never got to achieve the same level of greatness that GoldenEye did. I do still have quite a soft spot for Brosnan because he was my Bond growing up. And so, yeah, that's more about just the Bond metaverse. But back to this film, Die Another Day, I can't give this a good score. I really can't. Man, I think I gotta fail it.
Every single time I rewatch this movie, I get tricked into thinking maybe it's not as bad as I remember. And every time I am blown away by how spectacularly awful it is. Everything before Iceland I would describe as somewhat watchable, but everything past that is a war crime. Like so bad that it feels like a parody. I think the entire third act is unwatchable. This was supposed to be a celebration of the Bond series. It ended up being a celebration of idiocy. A lot of things in this are the worst in the series. I think it's the worst villain. It's the worst villain plot. It's the worst females. It's the worst gadgets. It's the worst dialogue, the worst title song, worst visual effects, probably the worst action. I also think it's the worst looking. Lee Tamahori was the worst directing hire Eon ever made. This is a dull looking film with just bizarre editing choices that date this horribly. I really like Pierce Brosnan. He deserved a lot better than this steaming pile of shit. I don't hold him responsible for this. You can see the pain on his face as he tries to act his way through this atrocity in some scenes. The reason why this wasn't better is because it was made at all. The only way to fix this would have been fire Purvis and Wade, burn their script, start over from scratch. I don't think this film had really any good ideas to begin with. This is as bad as I remember every time. I think it's rock bottom for the series. It may not be my least favorite to rewatch. Like it's possible that Spectre is a more boring movie than this, but this is the worst film in the skit series. This is absolutely an F. And that's it for Die Another Day. Kai, great having you back to talk Bond. We're kind of running out of Bond movies to talk about, Anton. We've covered most of them at this point.
It's like we could even rank the Pierce Brosnan ones.
I think we're just going to have to do that. Kai, you should be there for that since you've appeared on 3 of these episodes now. Let's rank them.
I will absolutely be there.
It'll be a good time.
Yeah, I think we all know what the
first film we'll all say
first film we talk about is going to be. Yeah, Kai, great having you back. We'll have you back soon. Nothing else to add about Die Another Day.
Yeah, Kai, I don't know what I'm going to choose, how I'm going to choose to change my appearance the next time we chat. I'm either going to go diamond face with the blue eyes, or I'm going to go white face. One of the two. So just be ready.
Not brave enough to do blackface, huh?
That's a totally different film.
Could you be Zhao for Halloween? Put like diamond stud, like glue them on.
That would be pretty sick.
That would be
actually.
pretty sick.
Shave your head.
I would be super down.
I couldn't
Like, that
do
would
it,
actually
but you know.
Actually, I would love you.
Sadly, I don't think
Pat.
anyone would get the
Please.
reference though. That's the main issue.
I don't think they would either.
I'm actually like, Pat, if you do it, I would love it.
No, I've thought about being Blofeld.
Yeah, that'd be
I am
cool.
bald.
It was me, James, the author of all your pain.
Touch it if you want. Ugh. Well, on that note, I think that's it for this edition of Why Wasn't It Better? Thanks for listening and see you next time.